Let's begin with the session today. So today we're going to talk about a very important topic in Indian society, something that appears very normal, very casual, something that we are excited about. Nonetheless, it's a topic of very high importance. The question is intercaste marriages between castes which have socio-economic parity have increased to some extent. That's what UPSC says. But this is less true of interreligious marriages. Discuss. Now, let's break this topic down. First of all, this topic is this question is talking about. It's asking us about whether this statement is true, that intercaste marriages between castes that have socio-economic parity have increased. So those castes, those people, those communities, those castes that are more or less at the same level of social hierarchy and economic hierarchy, those castes have been allowing their children, or have been in fact proactively going ahead and seeking alliances from similar castes, not the same caste, similar castes from the same socio-economic background. Is that true? Although it says discuss, but you still have to explore into the reality. But at the same time, it says, but that's not happening in case of groups that belong to the same socio-economic group, meaning they might have the same kind of income, wealth, same kind of economic class. They also might be they might belong to the similar kind of castes. That means in case of upper castes only, but the twist is they do not belong to the same religion, right? In such cases, marriages do not occur between people belonging to different faiths, different religious groups, although the other similarities, other factors remain the same. Is that the trend? If that is how it is, discuss. Let us know what your opinions are. Generally, discuss means you can imagine a group of people sitting around an oval table and discussing something. Everybody shares a bit of information, shares some data, some information, some analysis here and there, and all of those opinions are put together, and that's what discussion really amounts to. And in the end, you can conclude. So somebody really starts with that discussion, and then everybody puts a piece of their whatever their opinion, and ultimately somebody concludes. That's discussion. Even here, that's what you need to do. You introduce and you conclude after putting together, after sharing diverse opinions, different kinds of pieces of information. So let's explore this question. Having broken this down, now we understand that we have to start the answer with an introduction. In introduction, what you can do is you can bring in some data. I'll share the sites from where you can get such similar data. You can say that you agree with the statement without really saying so. So you give additional information rather than saying, yes, this has happened. That's a very boring and a passive way of answering a question, which will not give you very good marks, not give you very good rewards. So what you can say is, intercaste marriages have indeed increased, particularly among those castes that are at the same level, with the same kind of social standing, and at the same time, with the same kind of economic background. So those people who also fall in that economic class, the same economic class, and those people who belong to castes that are more or less, somewhere around, in the social hierarchy, the gap between those two castes is not too wide. That's the thing. All right. So that's what it is. Now, some data there, around 10% is according to one particular source. That's the information in case of intercaste marriages. Maybe that's a recent number, but as the 2011 census goes, the number was 5.8%. Interreligious marriages, on the contrary, are very rare. In fact, some data says it's 2%, but there are some other sources that say less than 1%. Pew Research Center also says it's less than 1%. So, anyways, so interreligious marriages, they are, first of all, they remain very rare, and even if they occur, they are contested due to different cultural, religious, faith, different cultural and religious orientations, and also because of political factors. Political factors are beyond cultural and religious factors. That's where you have this, the whole about love jihad and stuff like that. All right. So let's move to sources of information from where you can gather information. You can gather from census. The next time census is conducted, you'll be able to pull out data from there. You can always refer to Indian Statistical Institute's data. Now, in this case, we have data from 2017. You can look at NCAER data that is also available. National Commission of Women, National Commission for Women. Now, it may not have data on interreligious or intercaste marriages, but it will have data on atrocities. It will have cases registered against the family members where there have been honor killing, or people have been tormenting the couple that has gone for intercaste or interreligious marriage. So that kind of information, that kind of data will be available with NCW. State commissions for women also will have that kind of data. So that data will also help you understand. Further, National Helpline Against Atrocities. Even this data falls under the same category or similar category as NCW's data. But in this case, it's a helpline, understand, and hence they would definitely have genuine cases of couples who are tormented, who are troubled, who are harassed by family members or other social factors, other social sections of society, because they have gone for intercaste or interreligious marriage. Right now, some data is available. Data like this is available on the internet. Not all data can be trustworthy. Refrain from using data that has come from social media forwards. Now, this is a very good looking a map with some data. Of course, you need to go back and verify the source, and only then you can use it. But sometimes whenever the data looks sketchy, don't use it, especially social media forwards. Go to government websites, academic research, scholarly articles. All these places alongside the earlier sources will give you authentic data. Right now, intercaste marriages, socio-economic parity. We start responding. This is the body of our answer now. What are the factors? What factors have pushed? What factors have facilitated, allowed, made it possible for intercaste marriages to take place? Urbanization, increased opportunities for mingling with other people from other castes. So that reduces caste barriers. The kind of hold that caste had on almost every aspect of our life, that has been reduced now. With higher education, of course, people become more open. At the same time, they move away from their occupational castes or caste occupations, right? So they are engaged in something else. And hence they do not belong to those caste associations, those communities. These caste communities have stopped having the kind of grip over individuals, over their life, over our lives, the way they used to have during our parents' or grandparents' times. So, since they do not have that kind of grip, people are open to go ahead. There's another factor. With increased education, especially of girls, increasingly people have started finding it difficult. Parents of girls, educated, professional girls, the parents of such girls have started, they find it difficult to find an alliance that is actually a good match for their daughters from the same community. So sometimes they have to either go for another caste that is more or less at the same level in the hierarchy, maybe one notch higher or one or two notches lower, but they do that because the caste doesn't matter. That subcaste doesn't matter anymore for them, right? Economic similarity, so people going to the same kind of schools, same kind of colleges, same kind of restaurants, irrespective of whatever their caste is, and in case they are earning about the same amount of money, or if they belong to the same class, that's the done thing for them. It doesn't matter what their caste is, right? But please understand, if the gap between those two castes is too large in that hierarchy, then there are fewer chances. So, same or similar socio-economic status, same or similar socio-economic. So, group. So, you always need to look at it from that perspective. One or two castes, one or two notches above or below, maybe three notches also, but not too much of a gap there. Then professional interaction in workplaces, it's merit-based interaction, merit-based promotion, merit-based appointment. Caste distinctions have literally they have withered away now. In some places you may find people talking about caste, but it doesn't matter anymore, right? So there is a new identity about religion that has really come up, but caste-based identity, it is really it's on the decline. Urban educated professionals don't care for caste anymore. They're educated, they're mobile urban professionals moving from one city to another, one country to another, and so on and so forth. Now, this is an additional information, you may or may not add it. Some factors could be so the government is also supporting such intercaste marriages, which is a very good step towards achieving social harmony. Central government through Dr. Ambedkar scheme for social integration through intercaste marriages, which is helmed by Dr. Ambedkar Foundation, and then financial support from almost all state governments to eradicate caste discrimination. That's the goal. Now, different state governments might be giving different amounts for individuals. Now, there are certain clauses, either both the boy and the girl, either one of them has to belong to either an SC or an OBC community, or something like that. So there are different rules in different states, but nonetheless the goal is to eradicate caste discrimination and increase social harmony, which is a very well appreciated step. Now, challenges. What are the challenges in rural and lower socioeconomic contexts, or wherever this gap is large? In case of rural areas, caste endogamy is still important. Endogamy is you marry within the group. At the same time, there is this economic and social constraint. You do not get a lot of education, you do not get a lot of economic opportunities, you don't step outside your city, your village or that particular region, hence there are no economic opportunities. Therefore, you do not get exposed to different ideas, different members of different caste, and hence these caste boundaries are reinforced upon you, and that's why one becomes sort of a part of that closed community. So that's why challenges. But in certain states, some rural areas have also experienced higher number of intercaste marriages, even in rural areas, right? Now, interreligious, what's wrong with interreligious marriages? Why does that not happen, even if all the other factors remain the same? The way we say in economics, religious dogma. My dear, look here. The culture, based on one's religion, customs and rituals, they might be at loggerheads. Imagine a girl and a boy from, let's say, Muslim and Jain families. Just imagine. Or it could be anything, right? So sometimes there are polar opposites. There are sometimes there is this fear of getting converted to the other religion. One doesn't want that. At the same time, there is political pressure, especially in today's world. In today's India, there is always this communal tension and love jihad and anti-love jihad, and all such that's always happening. Anti-conversion laws that make interreligious marriages very difficult and prohibitory. Social stigma. See, in case of intercaste marriage, there could be a little bit of frowning or a little bit of murmuring here and there, but then that might die out. But in case of an interreligious marriage, its stigma from on both the sides is very strong. There'll always be a very strong resistance. Of course, it's very unfortunate, but being a sociologist, that's how we are looking at these things. These are the factors because of which interreligious marriages are not that frequent as we can see intercaste marriages. It's fear of forced conversion. Now, having having entered into a relationship, having fallen in love with an individual from another religion, even if one wants to go ahead, if that individual fears getting converted, you see those celebrities who belong to different religions, they're happy, they are celebrating each other's festivals. That's because there is no pressure on them to get converted. But in case of conversion, in case of fear of conversion, there is a problem. And of course, we talked about love jihad controversy, particularly in places where communal harmony is always under threat. Then legal and social framework. Look, on the one hand, Special Marriage Act 1954 allows interreligious and intercaste marriages without conversion. But the problem is, even if the law allows you marriage without conversion, society puts pressure, families put pressure on couples or on that individual to convert, and that's a problem, right? So hence this becomes a prohibitive, a challenge in going ahead with interreligious marriage. Caste flexibility. Now, there is also this problem about family honor, caste and family honor. Well, of course, it's not much of a problem. It does occur as a problem in cases of honor killing. We often see that girl and boy, or both of them, or either one of them is sometimes killed because of love marriages, and it's called honor killing. Very unfortunate incidents happen. At the same time, it could happen even in case of interreligious marriages, but in case of intercaste marriages, sometimes they're also let go. But in case of religion is very sacred. It's more sacred than caste for people, and hence people are a little wary of going ahead with interreligious marriage because they are afraid of sacrificing their identity altogether and acquiring a new identity in the end. So, as conclusion, we can say that intercaste marriages they have been gaining acceptance. They have been gaining acceptance among youth, at the same time even among parents. Mostly among urban educated and socio-economically similar individuals. It was one study found out that the education of girl's mother or boy's mother, in fact, education of boy's mother really played a very important role in accepting a girl from another caste for their son. So in Marathi they say mulgi shikli pragati zali. In this case, sasubai shikli pragati zali. That means your mother-in-law is educated. You, if mother of the boy is educated, you might expect her to accept you even if you belong to a different caste. Yeah. On a lighter note, there. In case of interreligious marriages, of course, there is a great challenge from the society for conversion. At the same time, there is identity loss. There have been historical tensions because of this, and there is this religious dogma, and it still is looked at as a stigma. But of course, things have been changing. Increased urbanization, people do not really putting pressure on their spouses to convert, following both the faiths or following secular paths. That is also a possibility. That is also happening. There are so many people who call themselves not very religiously inclined, and hence people with progressive thinking have had no problems in going ahead with successful marriages, interreligious marriages. Right. On this note, I guess we have covered Indian society session today. One question. Which is very interesting, of course, a very interesting trend, and this trend, I'm sure, is it'll continue, and gradually you can see more and more people getting into interreligious marriages as well, right? As the society opens, as the society moves towards more and more secularism and more modernity, right? I hope you enjoyed today's session. Thank you. You can